You will always find that whenever you are on a spiritual path or in the process of self reflection, you are going to lose out on a lot of friends. You are going to be questioned by people around you as to what you are doing with your life. You see, a lot of fear has been bred into us, which is a part of conditioning. So, our caretakers sometimes unconsciously pass on those fears to us. They project their fears onto us. It's not their fault, it's by design. This happens from generation to generation. And of course, it is the nature of our brain to seek safety. And safety, it believes, is in conformity. It's in something which looks familiar. So, any path where there is uncertainty is usually frowned upon by most people. Any path which is unconventional, any thinking which is unconventional is challenged by people. Therefore, you will notice that when you are on this path, you are going to lose those old associations and friendships and sometimes even relationships, because now they cannot relate to you. When you reflect, when the mind introverts on itself, a lot of changes happen. And these changes, they reflect also externally. For example, someone who socializes over drinks and food may stop doing that. Or let's say that earlier you would socialize and talk about superficial things, but now that you are self introspecting and progressing, or let's say moving on your spiritual path, now those superficial things don't matter to you much. So now you want deep connections. Now you want people who can look deep into you. You're not scared anymore. The fear is gone. So when they see that you become fearless, then they project a lot of fear onto you. What are you doing? What are you making of your life? There is stability in this path, there is instability in that path. How are you going to support yourself, your family, this and that? A lot of questions come up. Even I have faced such questions. But there was always this trust that the universe takes care. There was always this trust and never any doubt about it. And the universe does take care. Yes, it does not mean that the life will operate the way you want it to operate. Leaving certain people, dropping relationships, relieving old habits, old patterns may be painful. In fact, they are quite painful. But you embrace that uncertainty. And what you discover is that all of a sudden you are not afraid to be alone. You are not afraid to be by yourself anymore. Because when the mind goes into that self reflection mode, it happens through the grace of God, and that gives us the strength to face ourselves. You may have accumulated a lot of guilt or shame from the past. And all that accumulation may have pushed you in a certain direction, to be a certain way, to come across as a certain person in a certain way. But now you are not afraid. Now you are not scared anymore. Even when people are not around you, even when they threaten that they will leave you, you do not fear, because the separation between you and them has ended. What I mean by that is that now you understand that the current powering me and the other person is the same consciousness. In other words, there is no separation. And the separation which appears in the duality is an illusion. Therefore, you allow them to leave. It is heartbreaking. A majority of my friendships and associations disappeared as I stepped into this self-reflection path on the spiritual journey. But I have felt more and more peaceful every day, because there is a realization that nothing actually was left behind. And whatever I have right now is sufficient for me to be happy. Your being is your peace, is the highest bliss, is the ordinary yet the most extraordinary thing. But yes, this has not happened overnight. This is a process which takes time. But you see, when one takes the spiritual path, it is but natural that you are going to lose a lot of people, because now you cannot relate to the old ways, that old way of thinking, partying, drinking, smoking, running after, chasing after people, romantic relationships, chasing after money, wealth. It is not that you don't earn money. I earn money also. But the concern, the compulsion to chase it is not there. If it comes, I'm grateful to God that God has sent me money. But if it is not there, which also happens sometimes, even then it is accepted. And same with relationships, same with friendships. A lot of people approach and they want to be friends. But the thing is that I cannot be inauthentic with them. So I show them who I am. I'm spontaneous. And sometimes people don't like that, because we are so conditioned to superficialities. So if you are my friend, I'm not going to come and ask you in a very polite tone, hello, how are you? So what is going on? And this, I'm not going to do like that. I will stare it in your eyes and I will ask you, how are you? Tell me. In other words, once you have locked eyes with me, then you can't hide. And neither do I hide myself. This is scary for most people. Sometimes people tell me, don't look at me like that. But I understand why it makes them feel comfortable. Because when we are putting up a facade, which has come about through past conditioning, we are scared. Deep, deep down, majority of people feel that they are unworthy. And they're carrying a lot of guilt and shame from the past. There are a lot of emotions buried in their unconscious. And they feel that if they reveal to the other all of that, then somehow the other may take advantage of them. So they're scared to open up. And which is very natural. I'm not saying that they have to push themselves in that manner. We have the complete choice to be the way we are, the way we want to be. But when we are ourselves, we are naturally relaxed. When you know that there is nothing to lose because nothing ever was acquired, then you have genuine interactions with people. So now when I make friends, they are genuine. And those who are not genuine, they generally do not stay. They don't stay close to me. They run away very fast. And I see people withdrawing. I can see them. But I do see their pain as well. And my intention is not to hurt anyone. But again, I cannot change myself for anybody. So I am the way I am. And in the moment, whatever comes up, I speak. I never plan anything as such. Even this conversation that we are having, I never planned it. A thought came, I switched on the camera, I've recorded it, and here it is in front of you. And that's how I am with my friends as well. I have very few friends, but I have very solid, deep connections with them. And I'm very honest and upfront with them about my views. So yes, when you are on this path, you're going to come across a lot of people and you will detect ingenuinity. But you will not keep resentment towards the other person for that, because you understand where they come from. You have understood your own process. You've understood how you were earlier and now how you are different. So you also give them that benefit, that maybe it's not their time to open up at this moment. You give them that much space. But it is true that you cannot tolerate inauthenticity as well. And you consciously or subconsciously call out when you see such a thing happening. You're not going to compromise on your principles or values which you have set while you're on the spiritual path just to please the other. In other words, awakening destroys people pleasing. You will keep the door of your heart open for everyone. That means that they can come if they wish to, they can also leave if they wish to. And in any case, you will wish well for them. You will not bind to them with hate or resentment or any ill will. Because deep down you understand that the consciousness powering all appearances is the same. So everyone is a child of God. Doesn't mean that we are going to tolerate bad behavior. In fact, that's what I mentioned earlier, that you call out people if they treat you poorly. Because you don't care. The door of your heart is open. You leave it open for them. But you set the rules clear that I'm not going to be my old self because things have changed for me now. And those things earlier, like it could be anything like late night drunk parties or chasing after people or substance abuse or anything it could be. Those patterns have no more value now because you already have experienced the bliss of silence. You have already seen peace within you. And day by day, your relationship with yourself is improving. So you don't hate them, you don't keep resentment with them, but at the same time, you respect your own boundaries. And your boundaries do not come from ego. You do not enforce your boundaries in an egoic manner that no, this is it and you cannot do this, you do not dictate the other person. You simply tell them that this is something I am not willing to tolerate. And if they wish to leave, it's their choice. You still wish them well. But you see, when you're on this path, spiritual path, and when you're doing self-reflection, you're going to come across a lot of people who have similar inclinations, similar interests. I have come across a lot of people who are on this path. Now, the friendships and associations are few, but they are deep and meaningful. And you understand how it all ties up in this fabric of life, how we all help each other, uplift each other, cooperate with each other. We don't compete anymore. That is one dynamic which changes. We stop competing with people. Therefore, all this jealousy and envy begins to dissolve because we begin cooperating with them. So in cooperation, there is no possibility for any envy, any jealousy. Jealousy comes when we believe that we are separate from the other people or from the other person. That is when the jealousy or envy arises. And that creates more rift and conflict in relationships. But in cooperation, in the dance of oneness, it is all beauty. So you accept that and you move on. What is left behind is left behind. You move on and you enjoy each and every moment of your life.